Tesla. Our friends at the Securities and Exchange Commission sent their rebuttal to Tesla's response to the SEC complaint, asking to find Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, in contempt of the original agreement.
That was the keep your mouth shut agreement?
This was the agreement where Elon was fined $20 million and Tesla was fined $20 million. It was required that Elon would have a Twitter babysitter, a Twitter nanny, that Elon would bounce his tweets off of, and that person would make sure that they were not in conflict with this court order. Elon has been very vocal about basically I have no respect for the SEC, and he's made fun of it repeatedly. He has been very open that in the rebuttal that there, and in what he said, that there's no, he does not believe that any of his tweets are material information, even though he agreed to the original court order and paid the fine. Mm-hmm. None of his tweets contain material information, so there's no need for him to run any of his material by another person because that's the way he feels. And of course, as you might imagine, the SEC disagrees with him and disagreed with him in detail. So before I jump in, what's the?
They said, yeah, it's all material. And by the way, where the hell did you come up with 500,000? And they didn't believe him when he said that on the conference call. They're like, oh, we don't recognize that conference call, even though it was a shareholder briefing conference.
Is that
call.
What they said?
Yes, I was
I
like,
read
I saw that.
I was shocked. I thought they were just claiming there were different numbers.
They were different numbers, but they don't recognize the call part of the same where they
said it.
Yeah,
it's recorded.
Yes, at an official shareholder briefing. Recall. Yeah, so I think that the judge is going to have a field day on both of these entities.
Right. Well, and I think on the Tesla Life, I gave a little bit more of the flavor of the pettiness of both sides of this thing that I felt like was in there. It's just, the SEC's like, they can't believe somebody would have the audacity to even come close to going against what their dictum was. And, Elon Musk is like, where you draw the line on which tweets have to be passed by the nanny, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, do SpaceX tweets have to be passed by the nanny? Well, what about a SpaceX tweet that involves a Tesla fly into space? Well, what about a Tesla tweet about new features on the car? What about new features in the car that are about to be released but haven't been released?
Let's be clear, though. I don't think anything is about what's tweeted on the Tesla account. This is about the Elon Musk account.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Elon is possibly digging himself into a hole that he shouldn't be. I think that he knows that this stuff is going to cause fluctuations in the stock price. He's got to know it. We know it. We're sitting on the outside and we know it. So I just don't know why he's doubling down on this and pounding them over the head with it repeatedly. I don't know how he can win with this. He's going to be sitting in front of a judge, and when the judge finds out there's no Twitter nanny at all, there never was going to be, he could very well face contempt for just that, I believe.
And I think the SEC wants to set an example using.
Yeah, they don't want anybody else that's going to be a maverick in front of them for sure. So if they can slam him like a nail into a piece of wood, they'll do it.
Yeah, that's all they really want, is make an example of him. But I mean, that lawyer said that he was the Twitter nanny, so there's that.
Yeah, they have an appointed Twitter nanny.
Yeah,
Elon just didn't. Elon's position is that none of his his tweets are material.
I think that'd be all they could nail him down on. But at the same time, if the lawyer is right that the agreement has loopholes so large you could drive a fleet of Tesla semis through them,
I don't agree with that.
Tighten it down a little bit.
I think could do that because the fleet of Tesla semis
doesn't exist. Yeah,
well, there are two of them.
Yeah, it is two a fleet.
Yeah,
that is two or more a fleet. Is that what that is?
So guys, I got a question here. We're talking about making an example of Maverick, Elon. We got to do something but didn't the SEC oversee all the bank officials who defrauded all of the people and caused millions of people to lose their homes, and the financial that ended up being global and sucked everybody down and
Love and joy,
ruined
yeah.
economies. And the SEC said, you know what? We feel bad for you. Don't worry about it.
Enjoy your golden parachutes, guys.
Yes.
Pat on the
But
back.
supposedly they tightened their rules after that.
And they tightened their rules in time just to spend all this effort on Elon.
Yeah.
So here's
None of the other companies running out there.
here's the deal.
They don't want him running a lemonade stand.
You can't do whatever you want in this country.
This is true.
We're a country of laws. And you can argue about them. You can say, I don't agree with that. This is unjust. You can civilly violate them in protest.
Mhm.
But arguably, the SEC's mission is to protect stockholders.
They're doing a shitty job of it.
Well, again, yeah. So what about the FAA? Just like every
They also
agency,
did a really bad job of it.
right, with the Boeing thing.
Seems
But
bad.
would you argue that historically they shouldn't exist because they
No.
did a bad job? And okay, so all I'm saying is that with respect to the SEC, this is something that Elon and Tesla agreed to in writing. Here are the terms. You're going to do this, aren't you? And he went, yes. And then he went on Twitter that very day and went, fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I want.
That same day.
Okay. That same day, he was willing to fraudulently agree to an agreement he had no intentions of following through on. And that, that,
Did he know about these loopholes when he agreed to them? Because if somebody pointed them out, and he's like,
I don't
"Oh,
know.
have to do
Those
anything?"
loopholes are
I'll agree
bullshit.
to do
Come
nothing.
on. This is post hoc reasoning by the new attorneys that he hired to get him out of this shit mess that he himself created.
Now, this is something I wanted to point out on the last show, and I didn't. Was
Wow.
he is the reason that both of Trump's CEO boards imploded. He quit, and then on each board after he quit, everybody else quit too. And then dude sitting there in his chair with a comb over, looking like a chump. And we know that he can hold a grudge. And he appointed
Oh, please.
these people who are watching him. Could that have been an instruction to, hey, get this guy back? Watch his every move.
I think this is really simpler than that. I think it's really more obvious than this. The SEC is charged to regulate securities.
So he's low hanging fruit.
And
literally,
I think he
making
was a
actions.
big asshole. As I
asshole.
said in the last show, if a
Well,
cop
right.
pulls you over for speeding
Stock drops.
and the first thing you do is flip him off and call him an asshole, what do you
Well,
think's
and
going to
he's
happen?
me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but he'll shoot me.
There's going to be consequences.
Yeah,
there's
gonna be
no doubt.
And I'm not gonna defend police brutality here. That's not my point. My point is that when he could have made this go away,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
didn't. He chose not to.
A little humble pie and eating crow, and
Yeah.
oh,
I mean,
it was me. Sorry, guys.
This is about ego. This is about
Oh, yeah.
arrogance, and this is about guess who doesn't give a rat's ass about your stock ownership.